Minasan konnichiwa and welcome to the Board Game Dojo's Indie Showcase, where we take a look at games from small publishers hoping to find some hidden gems. Today we are taking a look at a Christmas-themed indie game called Fuwa Fuwa no Christmas, which means fluffy Christmas, and I don't really understand why it's called that because it really doesn't have anything to do with this game, which is a set collection game with the theme of Christmas presents. Let's see if this one is worth importing for the holidays or not. This is Indie Showcase. This is Fuwa Fuwa no Christmas. Fuwa Fuwa no Christmas is a very basic set collection game. On your turn, you'll see where the pawn is here, and you'll be able to move up to 3 steps in front of you. You can take any card that is on the top, so let's say I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3. I can take the top card here and add it to my collection. I'll then reveal the next card in the pile, and then it'll be the next player's turn. Now you are allowed to pay a card from your collection if you want to move additional steps. So say instead of going here, let's reset this here. So let's say, for example, I want this red card right here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. I can go the 3, then I need to pay 2 additional cards from my collection like this, put it into the discard pile, and I can go the extra 2 steps and take the red card. That one didn't really make a whole lot of sense, but you can do it. When you get to the bottom of the pile, you'll see the bottom card, which is one of these fireplace cards here. There's 8 total piles, and when 3 of the piles show the fireplace, then the game is over and you'll start to score your points. In Fuwa Fuwa no Christmas, there are 4 types of cards that score. The first one is 3 different kinds of presents, in which you can score if you have the same kind of present. These score in exponential, so if you have 1 of a red present, you get 2 points, but if you have 8 red presents, you score 80. So the scores really rise very quickly. Another one is the reindeer. By themselves, they don't score any points, but whoever has the lowest amount of reindeer loses 20 points at the end of the game. The dice cards allow you to roll 2 dice at the end of the game, and you score for the number of pips that are on the dice. So for example, if you roll a 4 and a 4, then you get 8 points. Finally, there's just the +7 cards, which I think are pretty self-explanatory, which means that you get 7 points. After scoring all of your cards, whoever has the most points wins. And that's how you play Fuwa Fuwa no Christmas. Toy Drop, the publisher behind Fuwa Fuwa no Christmas, is a bit of a strange publisher, to say the least. You never quite know what you're going to get with them. They have their more traditionally well-received games like Age of Craft and Trick Raiders, but they also have games with some very strange titles, like one that I'm not really sure if I should translate it as Constipation Battle or Stomach Pain Endurance Battle, and also Life Through the Anus. So they kind of do things a little bit unconventionally, and again, you never quite know what you're going to get with their games. Part of that also includes just the font choice for this game. This font that's like right here, if I can get that in focus, this is basically the Comic Sans of Japanese font. In fact, the first thing I did when I pulled this game out to show Sima-chan was she went, "Oh my god, who chose that?" Saying that, I was a bit surprised to see that it was a Toy Drop game, but it does kind of make sense when actually thinking about the mechanics that at some points don't make sense and you wouldn't think you would find in this game, but also kind of do. For example, it's a really smart, clever way of doing set collection to just basically have it in a circle and kind of do the patchwork method where you can only go 1 to 3 steps, but also it's a clever way of like, hey, you can discard some of those cards that you really want, but hey, if you want a card that's like 4 steps away, you can get rid of those nice cards to get an even better card. Like, that's a smart touch. But then you also have things that are really, really harsh, like the reindeer cards. For a game in which most of the players will end up somewhere between 80 and 100, 110, losing 20 points for having the least amount of reindeer is harsh. Just like Rudolph, if you're not part of the reindeer game, you're gonna be ostracized from the winning platform. But on the other hand, that's a very smart way of getting people to stop with the set collection. At some point, you're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to sacrifice the sets that you were trying to create in order to not lose those 20 points. You also have the die rolls that are probably going to end the game, in which you're not quite sure why they're in this game, where everything else kind of feels a little bit like a traditional card game, but this one certainly doesn't. Why are there dice in this game? But then as you're scoring points, and everybody's close, and then you move on to the reindeer, and one person's kind of gone now, or they're going to need a kind of Christmas miracle to get back into it. Then you kind of notice, because there are too many dice in this box. Why are there so many dice? Oh, it's because this person's gonna roll 8 dice. This person's gonna roll 6 dice. This person's gonna roll 4 dice. Oh, this game's gonna come down to dice rolls, isn't it? And that's the thing. Quite often, this game is going to come down to who has luck at the end of the game for the dice. Sure, you might have a 10-point advantage on Grandma over there, but what are the chances that with her 2 dice that she has, that she can roll and beat you? It's kind of a nice drum roll moment, the nice tension at the end of the game night. And the thing about it is that your perspective on this little section of this explanation is kind of how you're going to feel about this game. Because to some people, that's going to be, oh, that's just silly fun. It's a family game. It's supposed to be lighthearted. To other people, it'll be like, what's even the point then if it just comes down to die rolls? Like, critically, this makes no sense. And yeah, you're kind of right. But at the same time, I would never recommend this game to bring to a group of adults or people who play a bunch of board games. Where I see this actually succeeding is if you're kind of going into the holidays with kids that are maybe between 4 and 8 years old. I mean, some of the math might be a little bit difficult because of the big numbers, but I think they'll mostly be able to handle it, or with your help, they can handle it. But this also might just be a good game to bring if you have a range of ages. A game that you can teach once and watch as you can play a round in 5 to 10 minutes to show them how the game plays, and then set them off and they can play as many rounds of the game as they want. Is it a fantastic game that I'm going to shout from the rooftops that you need to go out and get? No, I don't really think so. There's even better games that you can get in the country, something like Gudetama, a tricky egg game, which is a game that we went over in our holiday gift guide last week. They have a Christmas edition of that, and I think that that's probably a better game than this. But it's also a bit more complex, whereas Fuwa Fuwa no Christmas is a little bit simpler and a little bit sillier, so it's really something that you need to choose which one is going to be better for your holiday season. Overall, we don't think Fuwa Fuwa no Christmas is like an absolute recommend, but if you're already thinking of placing an order, maybe you watched our holiday gift guide videos last week and you're putting together an Amazon Japan cart, maybe throw this one in there, and this might be a good one to bring to the holidays. Well, thank you so much for watching today. ありがとうございました. Until next time, じゃあね.